Hey.
Hey.
Remember when I talked about wrestling styles where you throw people by their pants?
Yes.
What if, instead of pants, they have jackets? What can you do then?
No pants?
No pants.
Just the dick hanging out?
No. Now, we won't be talking about styles like judo, BJJ or sambo, because everybody knows them already. I want to highlight some more obscure stuff. I'm super interested in niche regional martial arts, and I'm sure at least one of these is a style you haven't heard of yet. So let's grab this topic by the collar and seoi-nage the shit out of it. First up, we'll be traveling to East Asia. Bökh is a style of traditional Mongolian wrestling. It's one of the three manly sports of Mongolia in addition to horse riding and archery. There are multiple styles of Mongolian wrestling, but I'll be talking about two versions of bökh, the Inner Mongolian and the Greater Mongolian styles. In the Greater Mongolian bökh, the outfit consists of a small, tiny vest, short bottoms and boots. Not a whole lot left for the imagination with this one. They're basically wearing booty shorts, and instead of a sleeveless jacket, they have a jacketless sleeves. The Inner Mongolian wrestling attire is a little different. It consists of a studded leather vest, long pants and boots. That one just looks badass. All the tassels and leather and the intricate detail on the pants makes these guys look like Renaissance fair biker gang. And that's pretty cool. These outfits, according to some legend, come from a woman winning a tournament, so the fighters were made to wear open vests, so, no hidden tits. I don't know, kinda ass backwards to claim something is a manly sport, but men being better at it only because they don't allow women to do it. Anyway, couldn't find any sources for this, so take it with a truckload of salt. And these days women do bökh too, so it's all good, I guess.
Hell yeah.
Bökh matches have no weight or age limit, so anyone can face anyone regardless of how unfair it might seem. The average Mongolian man is approximately 167 centimeters, so a little shorter than me, but for some reason all bökh fighters are built like goddamn brick shithouse. Have you seen them? They're massive. Depending on the region, bökh fights start either with or without fighters having a hold on each other. In the Greater Mongolian bökh, the goal is to force the opponent's upper body, knees and elbows on the ground. In the Inner Mongolian style, you lose if anything other than your feet touch the ground. Bökh fights might seem somewhat uneventful to the uninitiated, but when something happens, it happens. The throws are super fast, powerful, and they look really pretty.
Aww.
Yeah.
Whee.
With the kind of grips and leg reaps you have at your disposal in bökh, I think it would work pretty well in both sumo and judo. And it turns out 5 Mongolians, 3 of whom have background in bökh, have achieved the status of yokozuna, the highest rank in sumo. It's no wonder with the kind of respect given to physical strength and wrestling prowess in Mongolia. With the sport's history in both wrestling, to tame horses on the steppes, and as a way for Genghis Khan to keep his forces battle ready, it's safe to say bökh has its place among the strongest styles of traditional wrestling in the world. From Mongolia, we'll head to Western Asia. Choukhe wrestling, also known as choukhe, with choukhe or Kurdish wrestling, and just choukhe, is a form of traditional wrestling originating from the Khorasan region in the areas of modern-day Iran, Turkmenistan and Afghanistan, where choukhe was performed in all kinds of ceremonies and parties including weddings, and is nowadays registered as an international sport. Choukhe refers to the traditional coat worn by the Kurds of Khorasan that was made out of goat or sheep wool and fastened around the waist with a shawl. These days the choukhe coat is sleeveless and made out of linen or cotton. Along with the coat, wrestlers also wear t-shirts and shorts. In choukhe, you are only allowed to grab a hold from the opponent's coat, not their upper body otherwise, but attacking the legs above the knees is allowed. The choukhe contest lasts for 10 minutes and goes for extra 5 minutes in case of a draw. Imagine getting pulled and tossed from your coat for 15 minutes. That's crazy. The conditioning on these guys is amazing. A choukhe match can be won by opponent getting too many penalties, winning by a stroke, or having more points at the end of the match. You get 1 point if the opponent is thrown on hands and knees or on their hip, and 2 points if a throw starts in the wrestling area and ends outside it. Winning by stroke occurs if the opponent is thrown on one or both shoulders, on both palms and elbows, or by catching a shadow.
Catching a shadow?
Yeah, it's kinda hard to explain, but the site I found it explains it as a technical stroke, or saye andakstan in Persian, which means to catch a shadow is any throw that puts the opponent in a position where the line of his back is bent to more than 90 degrees in relation to their legs, in a way that it casts a shadow on the ground.
Very complicated.
Yeah, it's super unclear. I'll leave a link in the description so you can go check out the rules yourself and see if you'll make any more sense of it than I did. It was really weird. Anyway, I can imagine choukhe wrestlers transitioning easily to judo and freestyle wrestling with the emphasis on jacket holds and attacking the legs, maybe even like sports sambo. Also, the sleeveless jacket is just really cool looking. I like the style. With a wrestling culture so strong and prevalent it was even part of wedding parties, it's no wonder Iran is ranked number 5 of 75 in all-time world wrestling medal table, and number 27 out of 70 in judo all-time medal rankings.
That's pretty neat.
There are a lot of fairly similar styles around Central Asia, like the belt wrestling style of alysh from Kyrgyzstan, kuresi from Kazakhstan, and Goresh from Turkmenistan. So I urge you all to go delve further into these yourself. I'll drop a few links in the description to get started. From Iran, we'll go all the way to Okinawa. Tegumi is the original martial art of Okinawa that later, through integration with the Chinese martial arts, transformed into its modern form of karate. The throws and trips found in many karate kata and bunkai might have their origin in Tegumi training. As Tegumi isn't an official sport, it's kinda hard to find a rigid rule set for it, but Gichin Funakoshi, the founder of Shotokan, describes Tegumi in his book Karate Do, My Way of Life as such. In fact, there are few rules except for certain prohibitions. The use of fists, for example, to strike an opponent, or the use of the feet and the leg to kick him. Nor are opponents permitted to grab each other's hair or pinch one another. Prohibited are also the sword hand and the elbow blow used in karate. Unlike most forms of wrestling, in which the participants are lightly clad, entrants in Tegumi bouts remain fully clothed. The bout begins as sumo does, with the opponents pushing against each other. Then, as it proceeds, grappling and throwing techniques are used. One that I recall well was very similar to ebigatama, leg block and three-quarter Nelson of today's professional wrestling. When I watch wrestling on television nowadays, I am often reminded of the Tegumi of my Okinawan youth. So to me, it sounds like Tegumi was very similar to judo and sumo, with locks, throws and pinning as way to win the bout. It seemed to be a great form of self-defense training as, according to Funakoshi, it was used for solving minor interpersonal conflicts without anyone getting grievously hurt. It's a shame karate has forgotten a lot of it and focuses way more on kata and sport fighting. Of course, Tegumi is still practiced today in parts of Okinawa and is a part of its cultural heritage, just like karate is. But can you call it the same style anymore? I can't really say. Someone else maybe could.
No!
As an interesting fact, the symbol used to write the word for karate sparring, kumite, or grappling hands, can be reversed and read as Tegumi. I wanted to talk about one more martial art today. We'll be going from Okinawa to Central America, a Mexican style called Xhupa Porrazo. I won't talk too much about it because there's barely any info available online. I found a couple videos and sites that talked about it, at least a little, but they were in Spanish, and the only Spanish I know is taco tortilla por favor. So a big thank you to Cell for translating these for me. Now, the sources I found talking about Xhupa Porrazo had very different descriptions of the art. One described it as an art that involves locks as well as weapons and imitating different local animals. The same article also claimed its modern-day version is a style called xilam, and I know just by looking at that one, it's just kung fu with a different skin, so kinda, not too credible. The other article simply described it as a style where two fighters try to make each other topple over and the fight starts from a belt hold. Also, you can find pictures and videos of dudes in jaguar outfits in super low, almost crawling stances, wrestling with holds from both pants and shirts when looking for Xhupa Porrazo. So the things these articles agree on is the name means 2 strikes or 2 falls, that the style originates from the isthmus of Tehuantepec in Mexico, and that there's some form of grappling involved. I'm not even sure can you call it a traditional regional martial art, or is it an attempt at modern recreation with elements pulled from local history and influenced by other established martial arts. I'm sure the people who speak Spanish, it's fairly easy to find at least some information on this style, but to someone who doesn't know the language, it's near impossible to even know where to start looking and what info is reliable and what isn't. So I implore all of you watching, be interested in your own culture, write down traditions, games, hobbies and martial arts, and if possible, share and translate information to other languages. It helps future generations a ton. Well, that was 3 regional styles with emphasis on grappling with jackets, and one I'm honestly not that sure about. Many of them could very well transfer to modern styles of stand-up grappling and self-defense. It wouldn't be too out of place to see practitioners of Tegumi, bökh or choukhe in judo, sambo or freestyle wrestling matches. And combined with the pants-pulling arts we looked at earlier, like bråkartök, glima or schwingen, you'd have a complete domination over people who dare to wear clothes. Personally, I'd love to try choukhe someday, as it seems fairly simple to pick up, but still effective. What do you think? Would you like to try any of these, sweetie?
I wanna do judo.
It's not one of these!